Welcome, everyone. My name is Phil Klissa. I'm with the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities, and we'd like to welcome you to the 17th Self-Determination Conference. Woohoo! The theme this year is a seat at the table, nothing about us without us. We hope that the sessions and the community that we've created here, sustains you, makes you happy and fulfilled, and gives you the encouragement to speak up, participate in things that matter to you, and that will help other people with disabilities as well. So today and tomorrow is all about getting involved, participating, using your voice, and telling your story. So before we get into the program part of the conference, I wanted to do a few little housekeeping things. First of all, if you were at the kickoff last night and you did the stamp sheet, you might have gotten a little voucher like this, a little certificate, a $5 certificate, which you can use at the micro businesses in the back of the room. So please take a look at what they have. They're talented artists and craftsmen, and they have some great things to sell. So please make sure you take a look at that. Then you'll notice something a little different on the program this year. We have 4 DHS, Department of Health Services, listening sessions. Now, the listenings, we have 4 of them, and the intent is we would like you to pick one of those sessions to go to. You do not need to go to all sessions, just one. In your folder, you have a story sheet, how I use my long-term care services. We'd like you to fill this out and hand it in at the listening session and use it as a guide to speak about how you use long-term care services, what helps you, why, and what could make it better for you. So we do encourage you to do that, but please remember, you only need to go to one of those. If you find that when you get to the room that the room is filled, please go to another session later on in the day and tomorrow. So there's 4 altogether. If you are looking for continuing education credits, you'll see something like this with a QR code in each of the rooms, in addition to the front desk. It's a little different this year, so what you need to do is use the QR code to get in. There's only one QR code, and it'll walk you through each of the sessions. In each of the sessions, there's a password that you'll receive as well from the moderator, so make sure you do that. You can do this one at a time, like after each session that you go to, or you can, collect all the information and then sit down and do the survey all at once. So that's up to you, but do make sure you keep track of the passwords so that you have those available for you. And if you have any questions, we do have a help desk at the registration table. So please make sure that you stop by and ask. Then I also wanted to make there's a change in the schedule. This is for tomorrow. Session 24 and session 33 are going to switch. So that will happen tomorrow. We'll take a note, we'll remind you again tomorrow about that. Session 24 is the self-determination channel, and session 33 is choosing a seat at the table, self-directed supports and family care and partnerships. So we've just switched those around. The latest information and agenda and program are up on our website. On the tables, you may have a little yellow tent card there with a QR code, and that will get you directly into the website, and you can look at the program digitally if you'd like. So that's available to you. Excuse me. Then we have another fun activity for you this year. We have a People First Lounge, hosted, of course, by People First Wisconsin. It's directly across from the registration table, and they'll have a variety of activities throughout the day. It's listed in your program. And you'll be able to also meet our keynote speaker at one of those breakout times. So, okay, I think I've gotten everything done that I needed to say. I just wanted to now introduce BPDD's executive director. For 17 years, we have hosted this conference, and we're very proud to have Beth as our guiding light in all of our adventures. So Beth Swedeen, come on out.
Welcome, everyone. Most of you know that the Board for People with Developmental Disabilities runs this conference, but I just wanted to give a big shout out to our board members and our staff. So if you're a board member or a staff member for BPDD, can you raise your hand just real high? Let's give these folks a round of applause because it's a complete community to make this conference happen. And we're just so grateful that our team is always willing to pitch in. They're the best people ever. So also, I just wanted to encourage you to get out, like Phil said, and see everything. There's amazing, great stuff every minute of the day until you fall asleep tonight. And I did want to ask, how many of you are new, first-time conference goers? Give a shout out for all these great new conference goers. Awesome. That is so exciting. Welcome, everyone. And now I'm extremely proud to introduce to you Kenneth Funmaker Jr. He is a proud member of the Ho-Chunk and Meskwaki Nations, and Kenneth is also a member of the Bear Clan, whose duties include overseeing matters pertaining to the earth. Therefore, it's most culturally appropriate that a Bear Clan member offer this land acknowledgement to kick off our conference. Welcome, Ken.
IDP. I'd like to welcome everybody who's attending this conference this morning to the Wisconsin Dells area. And this is our Ho-Chunk Nation homeland. Been our homeland for forever. I just want to I'm going to speak to you. I'm going to talk in my native language. I'm going to introduce myself. That's protocol within the Ho-Chunk Nation. IDP, that means good morning in my language. Ho-Chunk Rajada, Kunskataga Hingaide, Maikade Rajada, Ken Funmaker Jr. Ga Hingaide, Kunch Yaki Karachwa Nangshana, Nish Aja Hachi Anje. And I said my Indian name is Big Bear. I'm from the Bear Clan. And I said that where I was from, I'm from here. Oops. This is called Nizachi. This is what we call this area as Nizachi. That's why. And I have a little brief statement this morning. I want to acknowledge the Ho-Chunk people who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We're gathered here today in Nizachi, which means village by the water. The Ho-Chunk Nation had 10 million acres that were recognized by treaty. The Ho-Chunk people were repeatedly removed from Wisconsin from 1832 to 1874, but we kept coming back to our homeland, and we are still here. I would like to say in closing that we are all here for a purpose, that we are all here to help our loved ones and include the many communities represented here at this conference. Thank you for listening. And at this time, I'm going to ask my son, Cody Funmaker, to come up, and we're going to give you a little taste of what we do, and when we open such events, we usually have our Ho Chunk Nation flag or our stars and stripes. We usually have them here, but you can just imagine that they're here. So we're going to sing our version of the national anthem. You can please rise. We Washington and Hampton, Washington, oh, we know your we haya oh hey oh hey. We Washington and Hampton, Washington, ho, and all. Thank you very much. Have a good conference, everyone.
Good morning. My name is Cindy Bentley. I'm the Executive Director of People First of Wisconsin. I am here to introduce Matt from Vermont. He is a self-advocate and an Executive Director like I am in Wisconsin. And he's a fearless leader. And I have one other thing to say. Please it'll take quickly. This was not on script, but we are also going to honor Phil Calissa this morning. People First of Wisconsin is, and everybody here. We are giving Phil, we never could give her an award, so I came up with another thing. I'm a snowman person, and we are presenting Phil Calissa with a snowman basket for the 17 years she's been doing this. Thank you very much. Phil, please come up and accept this. Yes, clap for her. Yes, she deserves it. I finally came up with something because I am a rebel and a fear deficit too. There you go. No.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Cindy and People First. It's always a pleasure to work with them.
Oh, yeah, wait 1 second. And we now welcome Max. Thank you.
Well, it got quiet in here, but hello, Wisconsin. You could do better than that. Hello, Wisconsin. There you go. How's everyone doing today? Are you sure? How's everyone doing today? All right, I just want to say something. I am so happy to be here with all of you, surrounded by like the natural beauty of Wisconsin dells. It's kind of like Vermont, but without the mountains and foothills. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. For those who don't know, my name is Max Barrows. I am a self-advocate. I live in the sticks of Vermont. That's what I refer to it as, the sticks. And I am a person with a disability. I am on the autism spectrum. I work for Green Mountain Self Advocates, our self-advocacy organization. And I am, the self-advocacy organization is based out of Vermont. And I am the outreach director of Green Mountain Self Advocates. So my job, in case you all are curious, is to work with our local self-advocacy groups. I travel all over Vermont and I meet self-advocates. I support them to be strong leaders in their groups. I have been working for Green Mountain Self Advocates, GMSA, for 17 years. And you can go ahead and clap if you'd like. And we just celebrated our 30th anniversary. We've been around since 1994. So congratulations to all, all the self-advocates and allies who organized this conference. And I am especially want to compliment the self-advocates who came up with the excellent theme for your conference, a seat at the table. Nothing about us without us. What an awesome theme. What an awesome theme to have. What I would like for all of you here in this room is, I want you to think about, my keynote as like your instruction, manual for getting and keeping a seat at the table. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to mention that during my keynote, I will be asking you questions, and this is how it's going to be done. The way this will happen is, is by using an app called Mentimeter. I don't know if any one of you in this room are familiar with that, but basically we're going to be doing, this as an activity with our cell phones. Mentimeter works like this. Mentimeter works on any phone or tablet or device that has internet access. It is a fun way for us to interact during my keynote, and I can get real-time feedback from you. So there are a couple of questions, and how this is going to work is there are a couple of questions or a couple of ways to get to my Mentimeter. You can use the QR code or go to menti.com. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. So basically you can go a couple of ways. You can go to the QR code, as you can see up there displayed, or go to menti.com and put in this code, 471. It's not really the code up there, but bear with me. It would be like a code, and then please put in your answers for the question. So basically, my first question to you is this. Would you rather, this is just a test, would you rather find true love or find a suitcase full of money? Well, it sounds like true love is really kind of winning by quite a long shot here. Wow. All right. Well, I guess you get the idea. So I'm glad you were very honest with me. Thank you very much for that. All righty. So we have, so now that you passed the ultimate test, here is more of, a question that I'm going to have for you. And here it is. What comes to mind when you hear having a seat at the table? Nothing about us without us. What does that mean? When you hear that, what does it mean? There you go. So it looks like inclusion, being included. We all have a say, being present. Me, advocation, that's a good word. Self-advocacy. Bear with me, I won't get to all of your answers, but you get the idea. Everyone's voices are heard. Inclusion, include us in all decisions. That's great. And I can see that there are about 136 responses, which I won't be able to read within probably 30 seconds. So sorry about that. But what that tells me is all of you have an idea and already know what a seat at a table really means. So thank you for that. So your responses, they remind me of one of the main goals of self-advocacy. As self-advocates, we are eager to educate and make the public aware of the strengths, rights, wants, and needs of people with intellectual disabilities. I'm autistic, and I represent people with intellectual disabilities on my state and national boards and committees. The way I see it is this. The way I see it, a basic concern for self-advocates is for our partners to think about who is representing our needs. So, self-advocates have a large stake in how organizations representing our interests handle business. It brings me joy when, we hear, and we are involved at all levels with decisions that impact our lives. We as people with disabilities clearly say that we want to live our lives in our own way. When allies like you give us a chance, it really can be life-changing. It is one of the greatest examples of presuming competence. And by that, I mean, don't assume what someone with a disability can or cannot do based on what you see at first. Presuming that a person is not intelligent based on how they look or move is a tragedy. Don't assume that we can't do things on our own. We need support, but give us opportunities. In other words, presume competence. Don't judge a book by its cover. Believe that all people with disabilities have abilities. Avoid prejudging what a person can and can't do. Have high expectations and dreams for us. Most people with disabilities perform better than expected when others expect us to do well. Avoid using stereotypes in your thinking. Keep in mind that people with limited speech usually understand more than they can express. Have an open mind. Get to know someone. Let them be in the driver's seat of telling you what they want. Let them be in the driver's seat of telling you what they are good at and go from there. And speaking of making assumptions, we need the people in our lives to be aware of and respect an individual's cultural background. Not everyone grew up on a tree-lined street in the United States. And so be aware that each person is different and is a unique individual. I know you have heard this before, but if you have met one person with autism, you have met one person with autism. And being autistic is only one of my identities. I'm Black. I live in the backwoods. I am adopted. In high school, I joined Green Mountain Self Advocates. This is when I began to know my disability pride. When I got involved in self-advocacy, I realized that I was not alone while facing tough times. It made me feel proud of who I am. Self-advocates say, I don't care how different I am. I like it that way. Now I'm not afraid to express who I am and how I learn. And you shouldn't be either. I connect with peers and allies who understand me. They learn from me and I learn from them. Our supporters must consider all the different parts of who we are that makes up our identities: gender, race, class, sexual orientation, physical capabilities, and mental ability. Having more than one identity can be empowering, but also can be a challenge. All of these different parts that make us who we are intersect to make up a person's unique experience. No one should say that they cannot help us because we are too complicated. We count on you to help us overcome challenges. we also need our supporters to guide us to feel proud of who we are. Because by joining together to celebrate our identities, we can strengthen our voices and make everyone's lives better. So now I'm going to have a short video, and let's watch how a guy in North Carolina, in less than a minute and a half from start to finish, gets to embrace his idea. So let's review what happened. First, as self-advocates, I think you already know that to have a seat at the table, you have to have the guts to stand out. You have to be willing to take a risk, to take a chance and put yourself out there. You need to be patient while people get used to this new idea of yours. You need to keep your cool and not get upset if people do not like your idea. And when you are sharing your ideas, do it in a way that is easy to follow. For example, the dancing guy used all kinds of dance moves. Now, did you notice when, the first and second guys joined in, that our dancing guy was very welcoming? So after you put your ideas out there, if people take an interest in you, when they ask you questions, make sure you let them know you appreciate their support. Remember, it takes guts to stand out like that. It's important to welcome your first followers. And after the first two guys started dancing, then came two more people. And immediately after, three more people. And then it was like opening up the floodgates. Soon all kinds of people were rushing to join the dancing guy. Did you notice as more people started dancing, it became less risky to join the dancing guy? So the people who were afraid at first to get up and dance, well, over time, they saw that everyone else thought it was cool and they were no longer afraid to get up and dance. So I want to review the biggest lessons from the dancing guy. If you have a new idea and you want your ideas to count, number one, You have to have the courage to speak up. And number two, remember to thank and welcome the people like, the people who like your idea, and give a big thanks to the people who join you and agree to go along with your idea. Okay. Back to my instruction manual on how to get a seat at the table. It all starts with knowing who you are. What I mean by this is knowing what you like and knowing what you don't like. For example, in a relationship, being able to be honest and tell your partner what you like and don't like to do. Another first step to speaking up is to know about your disability. Know what you do well and know what you need help with. For example, it is easy for me to say I have autism, but it's harder to admit when I don't understand something. I don't want to be looked at as someone who is not smart. Many of us find it easy to talk about what we can do independently. The tricky part is getting comfortable with saying what we need help with. As leaders, if we really want our ideas to count, we need to be able to describe exactly what others can do to support us. That's what I love about the self-advocacy movement. Self-advocates say, I don't care how different I am. I like it that way. I have been fortunate to learn from leaders in our movement. Now I am not afraid to express who I am and how I learn. I connect with peers and allies who understand me. They learn from me and I learn from them. So, my fellow self-advocates in this room, speak up. If you have questions about your disability, ask someone you trust. Practice telling people about your disability. Tell them what is helpful. Speak up for your rights means speaking up for any accommodations you need. Describe the best way you know how to do things. We all have challenges in our lives. Use them as a way to learn about yourself more. So, who is the only person who can change? Let me ask, who is the only person who can change? Who is the only person who can change? That is correct, yourself. You are the only person who can change. Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. And I want you to answer it silently. Here is the question. When you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? When I say, do you like what you see, I don't just mean on the outside. Like I'm having a bad hair day, or do I have a big pimple on my face? What I mean is, do you like what you see on the inside? Do you like who you are? Remember, when you love and respect yourself, you can spread that message of acceptance to those around you. Here is what I want you to do. Tomorrow, when you get up, when you look in the mirror, I want you to say positive comments about yourself. Please do not say, I am a nice person. Say what you do that makes you a nice person. That's right. I am asking you to talk to yourself. I call it talking to my spirit. I do it all the time. The important part is to say positive things, to compliment yourself, to pat yourself on the back. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the Mentimeter. Uh-oh. Give me a second while I go back into it. As you can see, this is part of living in the backwoods. I sometimes am kind of cut off with all this technology, so bear with me. All right, here we go. Yeah. So there's the QR code. So here we go. So, what are 3 positive things you like about yourself? Take a 2-minute break to appreciate yourself. Spend just 2 minutes thinking about the things you like about yourself. It is a quick way to feel, good. Type 3 things you like about yourself. This will help you feel positive and confident. Another way to think about this is, this question is, what do people like and admire about you? What do people appreciate about you? And as a reminder, you type your answers in the box, then hit submit. As I see some of your answers, I'm kind of thinking to myself too, what people admire and appreciate about me. So I'm doing the same thing you are, just in my head. I'll just give you about 10 more seconds. Wow, 371 responses and counting. That's a lot. Thank you so much for that. Oops. Bear with me. I got it. Zoom. Thank you for sharing what you like about yourself. All right. Now I'm going to tell my story. As I hear the exact words and the theme of this conference, what comes to mind for me is my personal story and what I've learned through connecting with self-advocates throughout the state I live in and across the country. So I mentioned that I'm on the autism spectrum. I want to share my personal experience with autism. It started when I was younger. I didn't know what my disability was, but I knew something was different about me because I was functioning in not so typical ways at the time. I would hide that. Whenever I struggled, I would keep it to myself. I would falsely tell any of my teachers in school that everything was fine. I didn't want people to think that there was something mentally wrong with me. But as time went on, I started to realize I can't hide my struggles anymore. And I want to know why I felt so different. Here is how I describe my experience being autistic. The way I see it is this. There is a shield that develops around me. It does not let too much get into my head. My brain can only take so much information and process it properly. So don't try and shove too many words in my head when they don't fit. They just bounce off the floor, off the shield, and onto the floor. In order for me to be a strong self-advocate, to get good at speaking up for myself, it starts with me knowing myself, and that includes knowing my disability. Knowing about how my disability impacts my everyday life. I know how my disability works through personal experience. Standing up for yourself can be hard. It can be scary. Trust me. You might be nervous about what other people will do or say if you tell them how you feel. I have a friend, and my friend is named Mike Rogers, and he's from New York State. And he says, beware of the advocacy death spiral. This is when you really know what you want, but you don't feel that there are people in your life who will listen and give you the support you need. You need to know how to make your case. Sometimes it can feel like it is much easier to just let other people have their way. Whether you talk, use sign language or gestures, point to pictures, get support to type, or any combination of these ways to communicate, it is important to let other people know what you are thinking and feeling. Learning how to speak up for yourself can be hard, but self-advocacy is something that gets easier with practice. Remember, self-advocacy is not an agency program. It is your everyday life. Alrighty. Here are a few tips from Max's instruction manual on how to get a seat at the table. Sometimes you need to be a broken record. Keep speaking up, saying what it is you want and need in life, saying it over and over and over again. The next time someone tells you no, use it to push or motivate yourself to keep speaking up and never give up. Hearing no can be tough. It might feel like you'll never reach your goal, but I encourage you to turn that feeling into energy to try again in a new way. Self-advocacy means not giving up no matter what. Practice speaking up for yourself to try new things. This is called making your case. People care about me and want to protect me, and I appreciate that, but I don't want to be protected from living my life. And as I just said, hearing no can be tough. It might feel like you'll never reach your goals or that people don't believe in your abilities. Sometimes even people who support you in life may say no. Speaking up for what you want isn't easy. It takes practice. One thing I still work on is not just saying what I want to do, but explaining why I can do it. This is important, especially if you haven't had many chances to try new things before. It's called making your case. Keep practicing. Okay, you are feeling good about yourself. You are believing in yourself. You have a great idea, and you want to be at the table. So you set up a meeting with someone. You can make your ideas happen. You want to make your key points, and you want to make a personal connection with that person in order to do so. The top goal for meeting with the person is to build a relationship with them. Work to establish a relationship of trust and goodwill. Be genuine and human in your conversation. In my experience, it works best if you have a relationship with a person before you have them to do something for you. Before you're meeting, practice staying calm and respectful no matter what the person says. If they are supportive, thank them, especially for that support, and let them know you look forward to working with them on your idea. If they do not like your idea, please remember you still need to thank them for listening and telling them you will continue to be available to answer questions. The number one thing to remember, you want to make a personal connection with the person. If we as self-advocates and allies want to be at the table, if you want nothing about us without us to become our reality, we need to work together. Do not go it alone. Make sure you got the right people at the table. Make sure all have a chance to speak. On a personal level, include people you trust to support you. Here is my last question for you all. Please go to Mentimeter and type your answers. And the question is, what can you do to get other self-advocates involved? What can you do to get other self-advocates involved? Talk to them, advocate, share stories, share your story, outreach, educate, talk. Point a gun at them and ask nicely? I don't know if that was a typo or not. If it was a water gun and if it was the summertime, that would make sense. Spread the word, listen, share stories, encourage. talking and telling. And there are 96 responses, which I won't be able to read, but that says all of you are thinking. Well, it's in counting. So now there's 108. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. All right. All righty. So in closing, to everyone, I want you today to please take what I said into consideration as you do your important work. I want you all to take what I said seriously. So now that I have been talking to you so much, I need you all to stand up if able. Please stand up if able. What I'm going to do now, because I want to hear from all of you, and I want to hear your voices as loud as you can, is I am going to throw a question, and I want you, as loud as you can, as long as I can hear after I'm done with this keynote, to say the words, "I do." So here's how it goes. I will read you a question and you say the word "I do" as loud as you can. Who has the power to speak up? Who has the right to have fun and get support from your friends? Who chooses your dreams? Who has the final say in what you do in your life? We are confident. We can ask for help. We can be in control of our lives. We can do this. Just please give us a chance. Just give us a chance. And I have confidence in all of you. I'm counting on you to keep advocacy as an awesome movement, and I'm counting on you to keep your awesome advocacy going. So let's do this again, and I'm going to have you say these 3 words with me. Let's do this. Ready? Let's do this. Again. Let's do this. Louder. Let's do this. One more time. Let's do this. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much, Max. I've learned so much from you today. I've taken lots of notes. I hope you all have too, and you're encouraged and excited about the rest of this conference and what happens afterwards. So Cindy has another surprise for us.
From People First of Wisconsin and from Wisconsin, we put a bag together with Brewers, Bucks, and everything for you, Matt. So you can take back some Wisconsin with you. I'm presenting this to you. This is for you.
All right, as Max said, it's time to get up and dance. So please visit the exhibitors tables, and we'll be back here in this room for lunch and enjoy the first round of sessions. Another quick update is that we have Hyatt Pharmacy here from Milwaukee, and they are able to give COVID booster shots and flu shots. So if you haven't gotten your booster or flu shots for the season, please stop by and get one from them, and it's totally free. So enjoy the rest of your morning, and we'll see you back here for lunch.